faith. Moses, I mean, if you watch Charlton Heston's the Ten Commandments, you've heard Moses before, okay? I mean, these are names that you have heard and seen, and there is a story behind each and every name. You with me so far? Or turn to your neighbor and say, I'm with them, okay? Just turn and say, I'm with them, I'm with them. Okay, so in saying that, I started thinking of names right here. I may not have got everybody's name on here, but it's throughout names on this. And I thought, okay, there's all these names that are here in this place. Your name may not be on here. I did not have all the room that I need, or didn't make enough spaces. But the point I'm trying to say is that your name has been defined here at Eastwood Springs. Your name has been part of this body. And believe it or not, your name has a "the" to it. Now, sometimes the name that you have a "the" to it is a really positive one. You know where I'm going. And then sometimes you have a name with a "the" that's not as positive as you like it to be. Now, I can say that, and I hate saying this, but it is true, is that there's times in my life that I try to stay positive, and I try to say Pastor Scott or Scott and fill in the blank, something positive. But there are some times that I can't stand up here and lie. I mean, I could, but I'm not. Is that there's times that Scott, the not so positive, comes out. I mean, how many here has had a not so positive thing go on? How many here has had one this past week? How many here had one this morning? Okay. What I'm saying is, yes, we do, meaning this. I am driving here to church. To church. Pastor Scott is ready for a message that God has placed inside of him. And I already have it on slides. I have it on a piece of paper, which is called notes if you want them. Everything's ready to roll. I'm driving down the road. I'm going a certain speed. A little bit over maybe the speed limit, but I'm just saying not crazy. And I'm just going down the road, and this car pulls up to the road that I'm on, and the car sees me. It's not like I'm, oh, you're way too far. No, the car sees me and pulls out right in front of me, and then goes 10 miles slower than the speed limit. I'm in my car, and I'm about to lose my mind. That was this morning. And I'm like, and I'm in my car by myself. I'll just let you know, I don't cuss, okay? I gave that up a long time ago. It's a rarity. Watch this. It is a rarity that a cuss word ever comes out of my mouth. Now, you're like, oh, you still cuss? Oh, heavens, yes. No, I'm not going to say that. Is that what I'm saying is that there are times that I've said something out of jest, which I'm not supposed to do that, but since I like shock, how many here like shock value? Nobody like shock value? I like shock value, okay? And I'll say something because someone doesn't believe a pastor should ever say something. There's a lady, I told you, a lady was buying a car. It was a red Jeep. And she said the F word, and I said this last week, boom, 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 boom. And I'm just being totally transparent, honest, and she's on the phone, and she goes, oh, you're a pastor. And she kept going, oh, I can't believe I was cussing in front of a pastor. I'm so sorry. And she's going through this whole thing, and I said a cuss word. I go, blank, it's okay. And she goes, oh. And I got the shock on, she goes, oh. And I said, I'm just going to let you know I'm not perfect, and I'm not here saying I cuss all the time, but I just want you to know I'm not perfect, neither are you. It's all good, okay? Like that. And I said, it's all good. And here's what she said. She goes, I don't think I've ever had a pastor cuss before, heard a pastor cuss before. And I said, well, either one, they're much more righteous than me, or two, they're a bunch of liars, okay? I don't know. It's one or the other. And you know what she said to me? She goes, I like you. I go, you do? Why is that? She goes, you are real. There's some churches I go to and I've gone to that I can never live up to the standard of what I think the pastor is trying to share. And I said, well, this is not one of them. And the whole thing that I'm just telling you, the whole thing I did, why I said what I said, was because of how she was saying it. And God actually used it. You're like, he used a cuss word? Here's what I'm trying to say. You know, damn and hell are in the Bible. You know that? So I'm not saying let's use damn or hell as our normal conversation. What I am saying is that one of those words I used is that in the process, you're like, whoa, I don't know if I want to go to this church. No, listen to me. Is that in the process of me saying what I said and then talking to her, she drew nearer to me, not further from me. If you're tracking me on this, okay? You may not like that kind of understanding, but I'm going to say this, is that now you're going to say, Scott the cusser. No. Or Scott the can't, when I'm in the car, I didn't cuss in the car. Just letting you know, when that lady pulled out from me, I just went, this is what I did. Oh, Jesus, help me. And as she pulled out, I went, oh, Jesus, help me. And she just slowed down, and I didn't tailgate her. I wasn't on top of her like that. I would just, this morning, I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, oh. And I don't know if it was, I couldn't really tell who, the guy or girl in the car. All I know is the person's eyes kept going. They knew what was going on. I backed off a little, and I thought, oh. And I sat there for a moment, driving there for a moment, and I sat there and thought, is this worth it? And the answer is, watch this, no. Meaning, it's not worth it that somebody pulls out and you have a hissy fit or it's just not worth it. And I sat there and thought, oh, okay, I got to let it go. Why? Because you know what this church is supposed to be about? You know what each and every one of us is supposed to be? You're going to like, yeah, you know what's supposed to be about? Our mission is to love God and love others. Hello. Our mission is to love people, even the people that cut out in front of you. Even the people that are doing the craziest things, we are still to love them regardless of how they act or what they do. Are you with me? Now, as I say that, we jump into 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And he says, and I usually do this at a wedding, so I don't have a wedding. Nobody's married here. You're married, but we're not doing a wedding. Unless somebody wants to get married right now, you can come on up. We'll get her done. Anybody? Okay. Okay. Have you found the person yet? Oh, both of you? Okay, I don't think so. But I'll just say, I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's just go with this. It says, though I speak with the tongues of men and angels, but have not love, he says this, you have become a sounding brass or a clang. You've become a bunch of noise if you're just not in love. He says, and though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, he goes back to this. You're nothing. I'm nothing. You can have all the gifts, all these wonderful gifts. I could walk up to you and I could say, thus says the Lord, here is your future. This is what you're going to do tomorrow. This is how this is going to be. And you can walk through that and go, wow, how did he know that? God gave him this, but he said this, that is nothing compared to love. And though I bestow all the goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, he says, but have not love, it profits me nothing. And then he starts talking about what love is. He said, love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. It does not parade itself. It's not puffed up. Now, just let that stuff sink in. You might be reading the next, but just let it sink in. It's long. It says suffers long. When I think about my car incident this morning, that's not a long suffering, okay? that was there. I look at what it's telling me. And it's like, okay, Scott, listen to what love is. It doesn't behave rudely. It does not seek its own. It's not provoked. And it thinks no evil. Love does not rejoice in sin, iniquity, meaning sin, but rejoices in the truth. And then it has these four things that it says always. I mean, all these things. It bears, it believes, it hopes, and endures. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Pastor Stephen. Say it again. Love bears one another's burdens. It believes, it hopes, it endures. Everybody say all things. Try it again. All things. And that's what love will do all the time. Now, how many here so far you have all this taken care of in your life? You got it all, it's all together. We got the same person. Okay, good, okay? Think about it. Think about this. This is what, when I say to love God, we can all say, oh yeah, I can love God. It's so easier. But to love others, not so much. Seriously, not so much. Love your ex. Ooh, hey, whoa. How about your in-laws? Now think about it. How about your next door neighbor? Think about it. How about love your boss? Think about this. There are certain people that are not that lovable. There are certain situations that a wedge in between what I'm talking about. And because it's driven a wedge, it just festers and festers and festers. And Jesus turns around and says, look, this is what love is. He says in a different passage, love your enemies. But the bottom line is that in this love he's talking about, we go on, he says, love will never fail. It'll never fail. He goes on, whether there are prophecies, they will fail. That's what we just talked about. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there's knowledge, it'll vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. He says, but when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part will be done away. What does that talk about? There's a lot of different denominations that believe that a lot of gifts have passed away this verse, meaning Jesus has come, he's the perfect one. So healings of a man, or when I grew up, I put away childish things. And then he makes this statement, he goes, for now I see in a mirror dimly, but then I will see face to face. Right now I see things not as clear as I like to understand all of this. Meaning, do you understand what heaven looks like? Not really, but I've been told what heaven looks like. So I have a mind frame of what heaven could possibly look like, but I don't see it clear. But I will face to face see this. And he goes on, he says, now I know in part, but then I will know just as also I'm known. This is huge right here. Catch this. When he says, but then I will know just as I am known. Jesus knows us as he has made us. Okay, let's go a different direction here. You with me? Because you didn't get that part, and I'm like, okay, no. Meaning this, watch this. How many here has ever felt like a failure before? How many here has ever done something that you feel less than? How many here, somebody has made you feel less than? And so we can all identify with what I just said, but understand this. Because we look at the failure, we look at what people have said about us and make us feel less than, or make us not be what we think we should be, because that's what that less than is. We have an idea of possibly what we should be. We have that. We have these dreams in us that some people have said, I guess I'll never see that come to pass. And it's the very dream that God planted in you a long time ago. And the problem with that is we have accepted failure, if you want to call it, or we have accepted the lesser part than what we think God has made us to be, and we do not feel like we have achieved in what we're supposed to achieve. If you follow that, because Jesus says, I know you exactly how I made you. I know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And which begs the question is, okay, why are we not doing this? Or Jesus, why are you not giving me help to do this? And the truth of it really goes back to Jesus has already done everything he's possibly can and has come up to the certain places. I've given everything I can give you. We are the ones fighting against our own issues of what that is. Give me an example. Example would be somebody has told you, and you know the tape. Watch this. You already know the tape. Somebody has told you, and you know the word, so I don't know your word, but basically you're a loser. Or basically you're a failure. Or basically you'll never achieve. Or basically, I don't know the right word that it is, but it has made you feel less than. And Jesus is saying, look, I have made you in the image of me. I have made you with certain giftings and abilities that are inside of you. And you watch this, you feel them. Follow me. You feel them. You sense them. But you feel like you just can't reach out and get it. You know they're there, but it just doesn't seem like they're gonna come up. And we do a lot of this. We get close to Jesus, we get close to God, and we feel like this is awesome, and then sin creeps in or something happens. I'll put it, something happens, and we feel like we're so distant and far away, and that connecting is not there no more. And because we've done something wrong, we feel that he doesn't want us anymore, or he doesn't care as much as he did before. Remember that time you had a really close relationship? You know what I'm talking about. That real close relationship. And now it's not as close, and he's become distant. And it's just not the same. And you contemplate, it'll never be the same. Follow me with all this. Because Jesus says, I know who you are or just as I also am known. He's telling us, look, I know this. And then when he says, and now faith, hope, and love, these three. Now abide faith, hope, and love, these three. But the greatest of these is love. Why did he say the greatest is love? I mean, there's faith out there. There's a hope out there. And those are two great big pieces. But then he says love. And love is the greatest gift. What am I talking about? Well, as I was going through the message and I was going through all these type of things, and yes, in the area of faith, hope, and love, I looked at it, and in the King James it says what I just read, now abide faith, hope, and love. In the NIV it says three things will last forever. Think about it. Three things will last forever. And what is that? Faith, hope, and love. It's a great tattoo if you ever want one. But the part I'm trying to say, I was thinking about putting it on my chest, like Superman, but I'm not. Is that in this faith, hope, and love of what Jesus is talking about, he took me back to the magnet. And I was like, the magnet? He said, yeah. He said, my love is a magnet. And I'm like, I'm not following you. I don't know how God talks to you, but I'm just saying, I'm not following you. What do you mean magnet? Why do you say your hope or your love is or you are like a magnet? And he goes, not at one time do I ever push you away. Matter of fact, I am constantly, and I mean constantly, the closer you come to me,